Is this thing on?
Welcome back to another episode of Spoiled Life Live. I'm your host, Ram Garcia, and we are in beautiful Corpus Christi at the Roy's Bait and Tackle Studio. If y'all are local, cruise in and check us out, man. We got a hell of a show. We got a fly-killing Mosca salt gun, one of those salt gun killing machine shows today. We got none other than local guide, veteran, Mr. Marcus Haralson. Thank you for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me on the show, man. I appreciate it. Man,
I'm excited. We're ready to learn. We got 9 viewers already. If y'all could give me a brown thumbs up on our sound. If our sound is good, I could hear myself.
I can hear me good, but
yeah, we could hear ourselves, but if you could give me a brown thumbs up, anybody out there, I could see us. We're live, and we're going to have fun. We got Marcus Haralson. If you are just tuning in, Marcus Haralson is from, where are you from, Marcus?
I'm originally from Corpus Christi.
Corpus Christi.
Born and raised, yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Man, I grew up here. Grew up as like a waterman. Grew up surfing, sailing, fishing on the slow days that surf wasn't good, and went to Ray High School.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I graduated from Ray and quite a few lifetimes ago. And then after that, I joined the military for almost 10 years. And then I was a corpsman with the Marine Corps for almost that whole time, just deployed a bunch. And
For the Marine Corps?
yeah, so like the Navy does like medical stuff for the Marine Corps. And you do like teams and like anything a Marines kind of do or anybody does, you kind of have to have a corpsman. So
Okay.
get to play with a lot of cool stuff and hang out with a lot of great guys. So I did that for almost a decade, and then went to college, finished that, went to A&M Corpus here, so came back to A&M or to Corpus area again and finished out my college degree, and then started my guy business. So it's been, yeah, I'm a big fan of Corpus. I think the city's gotten a lot better over the years. I think it's growing. You see a lot of positive changes, I think, in the last, 40 years, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, I think it's gotten pretty good.
Right.
So fishing's gotten better. I mean, just everything.
When did you start your guide business?
Started it 10 years ago. So, yeah, 10 years ago today.
2011?
2011, yeah.
2011.
Yeah, I just got back from Afghanistan and had a little bit of coin saved up. And my neighbor, a really good friend at the time, kind of kept pushing me like, hey, man, you'd be really good at this for a living. You should kind of pursue it. And back then, nobody was really doing it.
Right.
So it was a hard pill to swallow, I think, at first. When you do anything, you're like, I'm gonna crush the world, or especially in your 20s, you kind of think you're gonna take over the world, and in your 30s too. And it took like 3 years for that to get going pretty good. But man, it's been a great adventure. I mean, like I wouldn't change it for the world. It's definitely better getting shot at. I'll tell you that.
Right.
I get hooked like a SOB. People are like, oh. How often you get hooked? I'm like, what's today? Like every day almost. But yeah,
Man, well, thank you for your service, man.
No, thanks,
First
man.
of
I
all.
appreciate that,
Yeah.
dude. No, it was a great time though. Like I couldn't think of anything. I needed that structure in my 20s. Like,
Right.
I was such a surf bomb back then that I needed that structure. But yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Why fly fishing? Why not just traditional fishing, or what got you into the fly fishing side of it?
We kind of talked about your background earlier. You said you're big into the kayaking industry and the fly fishing, or into fishing that way. And that's what kind of got me into it. I did professional kayak fishing, had a ton of sponsors and all that stuff in the late 2000s. And we were fishing in places that I didn't grow up fishing. Like, you know what it is, like you grow up in a boat, everybody gets out and you like wade shorelines or like chest deep water and
Right.
you're searching for trout and stuff like that. But there's like, it's usually just big open water, stuff like that. You're not really getting into the flats. So you didn't go into that shallow water. Most boats back in that, when I was growing up here, couldn't get into that water. The kayaks really weren't, I mean, like 80s and 90s, there wasn't really like kayaks that were worth anything.
Right.
And then
They weren't built to fish.
yeah, they weren't really designed to fish. And my first kayak was a scrambler, and it wasn't designed to fish, but I could get into areas that I would see from the boat and be like, that's where I want to go. I started getting into that kayaking heavily and noticing that fish were in shallower waters. And I went on a buddy skiff, older gentleman that's kind of like a mentor at a time for me, and he took me on a skiff he had, and it was just like fishing the same area as I was in a kayak, and I fell in love with it. And then I didn't get into fly fishing though until probably a little bit later than that. I was pretty heavy into fly tying. I got started fly tying originally. So anyway, I think I got off topic there.
No, you're good.
No, but I originally started fly tying. I was at Quantico. I had a buddy. We were just kind of hanging out like this, and he had a fly tying book, and I was like, that's amazing. That's something I've always wanted to get into. I'm kind of a curious person anyway, and constantly reading. So when I saw that, it gave me an opportunity to kind of dive into it a little bit. And he brought a bunch of materials, like a cheap little vise, like clamped onto the table the next day, and I kind of played with it, messed up a ton of flies and stuff, but kind of figured it out, and it was like a creative release for me. So
At that time, it was Greens, right?
What's up?
The fly shop here in Corpus.
They had one that was Greens, but I was in Virginia at the time.
Oh, okay.
So I was up in the Quantico area, and fishing, I learned on a river, catching like smallmouth and bass.
I got you.
And on like my days off, which was very few at that time in the military, I'd rent a canoe and go canoe down a river, and it'd take like 8 hours. And I would fly fish. And then I got a bunch of guys I worked with, and I was like, let's go do this. And they all showed up with like poles and all this stuff, but nobody fly fish. And they made fun of me. They're like, you're an old man, only old men fly fish. Like,
Yeah.
God, this is so long ago. But they're like, only old men fly fish and all this stuff. And I don't know, man. It just kind of progressed. It's crazy, like something you just kind of do for fun over time. It's like, now I make a living at it. I don't know. It's just weird to me. Sometimes I don't think it's real. I'm like, man, is this real?
Right.
Yeah.
So you do this 100%.
100% full time.
Oh,
I mean, I
wow.
have a bunch of other side hustles and stuff I do,
Right.
but primarily I'm a full time guy.
That's cool, man.
I stepped away almost a year, like in the middle of it. I got a job offer from a guy. It was a client of mine. It was like, and that guy beat your magic number. You have to go try something new. Learn a good skill. And anyway, yeah.
Right.
So but yeah, 10 years solid.
And you missed it, and you said, "No, you know what? I got to go back to this."
Yeah, I missed it. I missed the salt and I missed the people. Like, I needed a change at that time. We just got hit by kind of Harvey, and it was everything was slow here and kind of destroyed anyway. That there was no place for my clients to stay, and that was like the biggest problem I ran into that year. So when guys were trying to book, but there was nowhere for them to stay because so many construction crews and like companies had rented every hotel that was available, and like we just didn't.
Right.
At that time, business was slow, so I kind of saw that opportunity and left to try something a little different for a while.
Hell yeah, dude.
But anyway,
What's going on, Jimmy? We're live here
Yeah.
in Roy's Bait and Tackle Studio, Corpus Christi, Texas. There's a lot of good things here in Corpus Christi. We got Whataburger.
yeah, I love Waterbury, man.
We got Selena statue.
Yeah.
What else we got? We got the new
Sailing. I
Yeah,
race sailboats too downtown.
We got the new pier coming up. at
Oh
Cole
yeah,
Park.
down at Cole Park. That's right
Right.
near my house. It looks pretty awesome.
And today we got an even better good thing here in Corpus. We got Marcus Haralson
Thank you, man.
here's Bull Life Live. Man, we're gonna be giving away something today. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, nor am I not gonna. I'm not gonna tell y'all when, but like in Spool Live fashion, it's gonna be a question out of the show. So stay tuned. You know, read it from the beginning. We got 5 viewers on. We got Jimmy commenting. I still haven't seen my brown thumbs up, but I'm assuming.
I hope we got good audio.
Yeah, I hope we
Sounds
got
good to
good
me in
audio.
these things.
Yeah, no one has said anything. Hey, well, you know, we hear y'all mouths moving. We see y'all's mouths moving, but we don't hear nothing. So I'm hoping for the best, and we're gonna keep going, man. We're gonna keep going. We're up to 6 viewers now. So if any of y'all got any questions for Mr. Haralson, if y'all are just getting into the fly fishing game, what type of rod, you know, what type of backing, what type of fly line, what type of tippet, what type of fly, you know, we're gonna get into some into the details.
Yeah, you guys ask me anything you want. Just send it in the comments right now, and I'll
Hey.
tell you about anything I got, like what my favorite kind of gear is, where I'm looking for fish typically. Man, any kind of advice you guys, especially trying to get into the game that never done it before, definitely reach out. Love to
Man,
help you
this
guys
is
out.
this is real
Yeah, it's real. It's live, man.
and raw
It's raw.
and live, dude. You know,
It's
so
got cold beer, so it's pretty chill.
that's what I'm saying.
Thanks
We
to
got-
Lorelei, man. That's
Laurel-
awesome.
Shout out to Lorelei Brewery. also in Corpus Christi,
Yep.
Flower Bluff area.
Yep.
You know, it's okay to call it Corpus Christi. We got real sportswear clothing on, keeping me warm. You know, these cool fronts are coming in, and the shirt's just keeping me nice and cozy. You know what I mean? Just right here. You know, Lorelei's keeping me warm. Reel's keeping me warm. And Roy's Bait and Tackle is keeping me warm as well. So let's keep on going, man.
All right, man. What do you
We
got?
spoke about fly fishing. Why fly fishing? What regions do you guide in? You stick around Corpus or?
Yeah, I typically I kind of have 3 launch spots I'll go from. My range is north of Rockport to like the whole of Baffin. Like I know down south really well. Grew up fishing Baffin my whole life. Buddies had cabins, so I was blessed to have that opportunity.
Right.
So I know that really well, but non-GPS like memory, I know every damn shoreline from Rockport to Baffin, and I would challenge anybody to question that. But seriously, man, it's crazy. People on the boat, they're like, "Holy shit!" I can
Oh,
run.
really?
Yeah, man, I run the dark, dude. It's crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. I know, man. I grew up kayaking, and it makes me I pay attention to bottom structure, and from that, so many years of that, I just constantly been paying attention to.
You don't even have a GPS on the boat.
No, I do now.
Okay.
I recently fished a tournament up in Port O'Connor, the Baracho Pescador. And it runs for a really good charity and stuff like that. And this year I put a GPS on the boat.
Okay.
I switched boats. I normally run a lot shallower running boat. But this year I thought it was going to be a little worse condition, so I took a different skiff. And I just need that depth gauge, so I brought the GPS on this
Okay,
year.
I got you. What I saw a post the other day. You posted. What skiffs are you running?
I'm running the Ancona, so I'm like a sales rep for them too. But I sell Ancona boats and I use their boats. I have my favorite boat in their probably lineup is their Shadowcast. It's about 18-foot like micro skiff. A lot of the guys around here run them. I think it's probably one of the best micro skiffs for the Texas coast.
Really?
Personally, I unfortunately just sold mine. Another guide really needed to get a boat, and he's a younger kid. I really wanted to try to help him out. So I
Okay.
sold him it. And it's just sitting in my garage. But then I run that, and then I run a Copperhead also, which is a little bit wider beam, a little bit more comfortable for older clients for a longer amount of time, for more days on the water and stuff.
Right. You mentioned tournaments. Are you pretty good in the tournament scene, or
No,
you stick
I
to the
used to
guide
be.
stuff?
I used to be in it pretty heavy, especially in the kayak scene. I did, and we had the number 2 kayak fishing team in the Texas coast probably for 3 or 4 years.
Oh, wow.
The only guys that were better than us was like the Team Ocean kayak guys, and you're fishing against like some legendary guys at that point. Back then, we did really well in that series. We had quite a few sponsors, like kayak sponsors and gear. I mean, like there wasn't a company that wouldn't give us money and free stuff back then. What was the question again? No, I'm sorry, man.
Are you in the tournament?
Oh
scene
no,
still?
so the tournament stuff, I goes heavy into that, and I kind of got a bad taste in my mouth from it.
Oh, yeah?
The money kind of fell out of it and stuff, and it turned into be like, we'll give you free gear and no money, and it's like 2008 time frame. So now I did tournaments for like the Mayak owners tournament. I'll do some like oil field tournaments back in the day. I'm kind of a ringer for flounder, like I can slay flounder on a plastic. Yeah, and so I'd get hired by guys to come fish flounder for them, but I don't do it anymore.
Right.
I thought about it. I just don't have the time, and there's so many guys. That's all they do. It's competition on that. It's not there for me anymore.
Right.
Yeah, it's more like it's like a longboarding. It's like more of a zen thing for me now fishing. And
Okay.
I honestly don't get to fish that much. Like, I don't know about other guides, but as a fly fishing guide, I probably fish. I don't fish ever. I never cast a rod.
Right.
And I'm constantly pulling. So.
Right. And instructing, I'm sure.
Constantly,
Right?
yeah.
You don't have to know how to fly fish to come with you, or do you prefer?
I mean, I
You gotta know a
prefer-
little something, or what?
I prefer like guys will reach out to me if they've never done it before, and I try to get
Okay.
them put them in touch with a guy in their area. There's a lot of fly casting instructors all through the Texas coast, or where a lot of people live, or there's a lot of fly shops like Roy's, or some guys in Rockport and stuff like that are willing to like teach and do free casting lessons.
Okay.
Some guys in Houston, some shops do some free casting lessons every month. Try to put them in the right direction with them first. So then it's one, you're supporting a local shop for one
Right.
thing. Then it's giving a kid or a person that's like teaching the class like bigger, more people to come in and kind of get that, and then they show up on the boat a little bit prepared.
Right.
But I prefer that. But man, I have guys that have never even seen a fly rod step on the boat, and you're like, wait, what? You should have said that. I talked to you for like an hour, and you're like, oh, I fly fish. Like, no, you haven't.
Right. So when these anglers are coming up, like yourself, you mentioned the tournament fishing that was long ago, and the tournament you just did. You see any of a difference between the tournaments being held now from the ones that
Man,
y'all
there's
fished?
a lot of money in it now, and I've heard I kind of stay out of it. I don't know, man. There's always like that cheating element in tournaments, and I think that's gotten more prominent. That the money's gotten more into it. I hear like there's some stuff on like a women's tournament recently this year. There's a bunch of cheating going on. Like there's all kinds of stuff like that you hear about, but. Man, like the fishing tournament we did was primarily a fly tournament. It was a catch and release tournament, so catch, photo, release. A lot of the kayak tournaments we did when we originally started were all catch, photo, release. I'm just not a big fan of kill tournaments. Like, I don't know, like you need to do kayaking. Is your stuff all catch and release now, or catch, photo, release, or?
Some are live tournaments. Some are kill tournaments as well.
It's just hard to move a fish. A bunch of redfish. Like, if you have 2 redfish, keep them alive on a kayak all day.
Yeah.
You're moving around constantly, and you're getting in some muddy areas. So I feel that's harder. And then same thing in a skiff. It's like most skiffs out there don't have live wells.
Yeah.
I mean, I have live well on mine, but it's set up for a tournament though. But
Well, you see, on our end, none of the kayaks have live wells, right?
Yeah,
I guess you could make
you can
a
buy
hatch, a live well. But what we do is we carry the live well in our vehicles, so
aerator and all that kind of stuff.
exactly, oxygen, all that stuff. So we come out of the water hoping for the best for these redfish. It's typically a redfish tournament, and we hit the road, man.
That's an added expense though too that people don't realize. That stuff's it's not cheap,
right?
I mean, like a aerator system's $100 or something at least, or more, and cooler and all that. Anyway,
My man Brian Richter's in the house. What's up, Jimmy?
what's up, guys?
Corey Betros asks, what is the best time of year to fish the Texas coast?
Oh man, my favorite time of the year is pretty much like right now, October through January. You have more, what's the word? I think you have larger, more aggressive redfish starting to come in during that time frame. Less guys on the water because of deer season. I think deer season, like right now, is dove season, and it's kind of thinning out the herd a little bit. But man, come first weekend of deer season, like, man, that's the time. First day, opening weekend of deer season is the best time to be on the water. But I mean, that's my personal deal. But then I think those 3 months are probably my best.
There's a lot of man, what do you even call them? Like, you're a fly guide. I guess you call the other guides traditional guides.
Just spin guide, just normal guide.
Right, bait casting guides. Some of those dudes are hunters as well.
Yes.
Or they'll do like fishing. They're a fishing guide and a hunting guide as well. You know what I mean? So that gets the boats off the water.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that too. Oh, and then there's with that though, I say that there comes the duck hunting, and that's laid down now that like the duck dynasty things kind of slow down. I think that's kind of gotten a lot of that craziness off the water. But yeah, I mean, like you still run into the airboat stuff, and I've had it in the past where when I started, there was about 2 or 3 older gentlemen that were fly guides, and they'd always complain about that kind of stuff. But I found out if you just reach out to somebody, like if an airboat's constantly burning your shoreline or something, they don't realize, or like the same thing in the kayak industry, like they don't know, like they might not necessarily know, like, oh, that's what you're doing over there. So I just reach out to them, try to be polite as possible, like the boat ramp, and just be like, hey man, like this is like show a map, like this is where I normally am fishing. Like you want to run your boat on this opposite shoreline? I mean, I'm sure I'm screwing somebody else's fishing up, but it's not mine. And then they notice, like, at least you were like not a dickhead.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot in this industry. If guys would talk to each other, it'd be so much easier.
Right.
And like just be like, hey man, I don't think you realize what you're doing is like totally.
And some people won't do that, man. You'll go to the boat ramp and you'll be like, I don't want to talk to anybody right now.
Yeah.
I want to eat my taco. I want to drink my energy drink.
Yeah.
And I want to get on the water before anybody else goes over there. But the boats are a lot faster than you can only go as fast as your feet can take you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, there's like that I want to call it that machismo.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I call it the same thing, dude.
you know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I call it that. Where you know what? I don't want to talk. Oh man, I'm on an airboat. You know, those dudes are on kayaks. You know, I'm not gonna talk to them dudes. But man, hell, dude, especially we usually take off. It's still dark.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's the last thing you want. So you can hear those airboats miles away.
And you can't see them, though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty scary.
You know?
In the flats.
Yeah.
Like lighthouse and stuff, dude.
And they're going so fast, even if a kayak has lights.
They won't see you.
And they're probably half asleep too. You know, the kayakers half asleep, the boat dudes half asleep. That's the last thing you want is for an airboat, that noise to be getting closer and closer and closer and closer, and you're like, dude, you know, did I really piss that dude off enough this morning? For I just told him to go get on that other side, you know, and he's still trying to prove a point, you know, to the kayakers, you know.
I see it places like Lighthouse, man, and I've seen it with skiffs too, man. Like, man, I used to kayak. I mean, I don't do it anymore, but like you forget to sometimes. It's early morning. You just forget to turn your like 360 light on. I mean, it's just like it's with even on my boat. I forget to turn my lights on sometimes. Like you can see, but you don't know what people can see either.
Right.
And I think a lot of the times, like I've seen it hundreds of times in Lighthouse for one. And it's like the most unsafe place to kayak early morning. Because I see it during duck season, guys come flying around corners in an airboat or a skiff in the dark, and all of a sudden there's a kayak there. And it's not like you can't just stop. There's no reverse or brakes on a boat or airboat. It's just, it could be a bad situation.
Yeah, you see it on everybody's feed, man. Like, you jump on Facebook and you could see them. You see boats, not just airboats, but just like
Jet skis too.
Yeah.
Oh man,
You know,
I've seen
they're
jet
coming
ski.
through the sloughs, you know, dude, you take one corner and they're there. It's like you said, there's no brakes, you know. The only thing that's gonna stop that dude is the kayak. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw it, man, firsthand. We saw an airboat cut a corner across a channel deal, and a guy in a jet skis was coming around out of the ICW, coming around a corner, and they just like skimmed, like they bounced off each other, and it was one of those things like one more second, and they would have just head on. Like, man. And you're going, you're just like, oh my god. I've seen boats flip over. I mean, it's dangerous out there.
Yeah, that's bad, dude.
That's bad. It's a bad day sometimes. Anyway.
Cliff Nagel's in the house as well.
What's up, Cliff?
He asked, how much of an investment can someone expect for a decent starter setup? On our on the koozie talk, we're gonna get into that. We're actually gonna give you all the steps of how to get a complete fly fishing setup that you could get here at Roy's. We have a knowledgeable staff here at Roy's too. If y'all want to come in and if we're missing something or we miss something from the show, just cruise on Roy's Bait and Tackle or hit up Marcus Haralson. Slide into Marcus' DMs, you know, and he'll ask. He's willing to help. You know, the guys here at Roy's are willing to help.
Yeah, the guys at Roy's are great help.
Yeah,
definitely. I'd reach out to them too. But this is where I get all my gear. I mean, all my rods and reels and everything comes from here. I just need to get a better deal.
How shallow does a boat need to run to fish corpus? I guess that depends on where you want to go, right?
Yeah, I think that all kind of depends. Like, kind of the areas that I'm running, I try to keep it. I don't run my boat in under, say, probably 2 feet of water, just because I don't want to tear up seagrass. Most of the time, I'm pulling in that skinnier stuff, but I'm utilizing like the ICW or any other channels, and kind of running into some skinny water. I'd say like, man, 2 foot. I think if you had a boat that'd go at least 2 foot. There's other boats and micro skiffs can go a lot shallower than that. I don't personally do it. I don't want to. There's so many debris and hazards on the Laguna Madre that I try not to run. I mean, I've hit after Harvey. There's duck blinds and logs and all kinds of pipeline everywhere, and I just try to stay out of that extremely skinny stuff. And I've never lost a lower unit, knock on wood. I hope this has wood in it, but caught pretty close. Yeah. I hit a reef with actually 2 guys from Roy's, a reef in the Keys one time in a storm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were just running and had the map. I didn't. My buddy had the map upside down, and the horseshoe reef was this way, but we thought it was behind us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. It was funny. It looked like a shark bite took out of that lure fin. Yeah, it's cool. But it was an interesting morning that day.
Right, you'll remember that spot.
Yeah, for sure. I'll remember that spot. And that was in the Keys, so.
When it comes to flies, I call them flies, right? is there a difference between the types of flies, or are they just all called flies? You know, it doesn't matter if it's weighted, it doesn't matter if it's non-weighted, it doesn't matter if it has wire on it.
Yeah, I think
It's a fly, right?
It's a fly. Like, there's like some materials I wouldn't consider fly stuff because they tied it on. I don't know. That gets kind of weird. Like, I'm not a big spoon fly guy.
Okay.
Like, I don't really consider that a fly.
Right.
I don't know. It's kind of weird on that, but I think everything's fly. I mean, I tie all my own stuff. They sell really good flies here too, and I just try to tie all my own stuff.
Okay.
And I think it depends on like seasons, how water temperature, how spooky fish are. I mean, there's all these variants, like what I'm tying for that week or whatever. I tie every week.
Do you prefer weighted or weight?
I prefer weightless flies.
Weightless?
I mean, I'll do weighted flies a lot. Just depends on the time of the year, but most of our fish kind of are somewhat spooky certain times of the year, and we use a lot of weightless.
Oh yeah.
Kind of keep it in the water column, and then I use material that picks up water different and kind of can stay in water column. So a lot of that's weightless. And use like B chain and stuff like that on that.
Right.
Yeah.
When I've used weighted flies, it's more like it always. Of course, it's gonna go to the bottom, right? And I always have to have it pick up a bunch of stuff, right? So I've used the non-weighted. You know what I mean? I wish we had some. Did you?
I brought some flies. Yeah. Let's see. So I tied these up right before I came. So like lately I've been doing this. It's like a larger pattern, but there's no weight to it. But this kind of just picks up a little bit of water weight, and it kind of just keeps it in this like cool water column. And it's a very light presentation kind of deal. So I've been using like that kind of stuff a lot. Then you have like stuff like this. It's made out of foam. It's called a gurgler. It's got, so it kind of stays on the surface and mimics like a little shrimp pattern. So you could kind of, and it just kind of pops on the surface. I like these for trout early morning, stuff like that. And a lot of times, man, getting surface bite on like a redfish is a lot of fun with this thing.
It's like a fly topwater.
Yeah, it's a fly topwater. And then I also have some stuff that kind of like a bigger kind of popper, almost like the head of like a super spooked.
Okay.
Like, it displaces, but like the cup kind that kind of displaces water a little bit.
Right.
That I like that kind of stuff in the mornings too. And then like when I see like little silver sides on the flat, this kind of imitates that. You can see like a little bit of flashing and stuff.
Right.
I don't know. It's just like it gives you a way to be creative. Like this has got a little bit of weight to it. Little chartreuse shrimp pattern and stuff.
I like this one. You don't ever put weed guards?
No, I never use weed guards.
You don't like weed guards?
No, not at all. I just tie differently, and I use like a more buggier material. Like there's like this, like you see.
So it'd be like a natural weed guard.
Yeah, I try to do natural.
I got you.
Or like deer hair, like a little bit of deer hair for a weed guard or something.
Something that stays and not just flow, kind of do.
Yeah, I go through flies so fast, and I've noticed a lot of times I was cutting weed guards off to picky fish, and I kind of just stopped using them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's funny. Just over time, I just note, man, you see it every day, day in, day out. Sometimes, I mean, I don't know. Just for me personally, I don't think weed guards are necessary. You're constantly moving a fly, and I don't use them that much.
Nope.
No, I like thinking about it.
Fan.
Like, man, somebody's gonna be like, this guy's an idiot for no weed guard, but no, it's just on my jam. Anyway,
Betros is on the ball
Corey's
today,
a good
man.
He's a good fisherman too. I actually know that guy.
He asked, which is more important, casting distance or accuracy?
Accuracy all day long.
How far should I be able to cast to be effective?
Man, I'd say like, it's funny because everybody comes and they're like, oh, I can double haul and cast like 60, 70 feet and stuff like that. And that's cool and stuff like certain times of the year. But I'd say most of our shots are within like 10 to 20 feet of the boat.
Okay.
Like if I'm looking at my feet or the person on the front of the boat looks at their feet, I'd say most shots are like within a rod. So in 9 feet of that rod.
They see it.
Yeah, they see you sometime. Like so that's
No, but they're going to see the fish. They're not just
you're
line
seeing
casting.
the fish. Oh yeah, if you're on the boat, you see the fish.
Uh-huh.
Like, or I'm seeing the fish, I'm telling you where to cast.
Okay.
And so you kind of get keyed in and are able to start seeing fish. But I say that's the hardest problem is guys seeing fish. Like guys just don't like, oh, you don't see, I can't see these. I'm like, they're right there. And then when they move or they give them a different profile, then your brain will start picking up on it. And I think once they see a couple of them during the day or go 2 days in a row, second day is killer.
what they're once they learn what to look for.
Yeah,
and
once
stuff.
their eyes kind of pick up on
Adjust,
that
yeah.
color and like what they're actually looking for, I think that helps. And like polarized glasses, like I think all that stuff's like really important on the boat. I'd say like casting is important, being able to see fish, accuracy or whatever, but being able to see fish is probably the most important besides accuracy. Accuracy matters. I try to cast at redfish in a 2-foot circle. So I usually say like, for redfish that's coming this way, I try to cast like 2 feet this way and then 2 feet in front of it. So that gives you a good buffer zone to kind of work the fly and see what the kind of fish is doing. And like right now, you're getting it in that 2-foot circle and they're charging it instantly. Where sometimes you're having to like put it in their nose and they're wanting to look at it and twitch it and have to do. It's just funny, like every day's so different, especially on plastics too. Though I've seen it hundreds of times. Where like white Berkeley gulp shrimp, they're hammering it, and the next day they're like, nah.
Right.
And you're like, what?
Do you give lessons?
Yeah, I do a lot of fly casting lessons. I hold fly tying events at local places a lot of the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I kind of slowed down. I used to do it every month. We would do a fly tying or a film night somewhere in Corpus. I've used Roy's a bunch and a lot.
It was like at Applebee's or something too, right?
What's up?
That fly lesson group thing was at Applebee's. I remember seeing something.
They had one. They were doing a bunch of stuff at B&J's Pizza.
Oh, okay.
But I've never. I mean, if there's one at Applebee's, I don't know anything about
I'm
it.
not sure where I saw that at. I saw some fly tying event at Applebee's one time. Maybe it was just a dream.
Oh, that might
Or
have been.
maybe it was something
It
coming
wasn't
up.
me, man. I don't know.
Maybe it was an idea. I dreamt about it.
I don't
You
know.
know?
I don't think I've been to Applebee's one time. I got punched in the face. I've never been back.
Never went back.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's a little too rough for me.
Right, I'm out of here.
I don't know. That was interesting. Yeah.
I also seen a post on yours. Man, I sound like a stalker, right?
No, you're good, man. No. There's
I
no
saw
stalker.
a post that you had caught in a tagged redfish.
Oh my goodness, that was crazy.
Right?
So yeah, so I have a podcast too. It's called The Wilder Bend, and my partner, the host with me on that show, we went out one day. We're just trying to get content for like.
Man, I had no idea it was your partner.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was just a client.
No. So it was my like podcast partner. We're going out to get content that day, like just to have something to talk about the podcast.
Right.
We had some stuff going on already. We're just gonna add this to that podcast.
Uh-huh.
And we go out, and John was casting like shit. I mean, every cast was off. It's like one of those worst days ever. Like, schooled up fish are coming at you, and you can see them. They're like shrimps blasting everywhere. And the guy throws like 40 feet the wrong direction. And you're just like... So...
And he's a pretty avid fly fisherman.
Yeah, he's pretty avid. They're just avid fishermen. So it was on plastics too.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, he was throwing a plastic that day, not a fly. Or he did in the morning, and it just pissed me off. So he was throwing a plastic, and we got into this area, and we saw it'd been all day long. Guys were coming in on us, cutting us off on us pulling shorelines, getting on pods of reds, and guys were coming in right in front of me and like cutting me off on their boats. It happened about 5 or 6 times that day. And I was like, let's just go to a place I know nobody's going to be. So I went into this area, and I started pulling a shoreline and saw a bunch of reds. And he missed a bunch of good shots on some pretty hefty-sized fish. We got in this area and had like a little drop-off edge in a whole pot. About 100 redfish went right by us. And I saw him, and he saw him. He just like watched it and didn't cast. And I was so pissed. I was like, damn.
Why? Was he like shocked or what?
No, he was just shocked. And it's like, I forget sometimes I see this stuff a lot. And I get excited. But I'm like, you still got to make the shot. Like, get it out there. So he missed. And I just got pissed. But I saw like this, when the plastic hit the water, he broke the school.
Okay.
And half the school went one way, and the other school shot off. And that one section, man, I saw like them kind of charging the shoreline, and they kind of got, you know how like they get super skinny and you see them like flapping around. Like, I was like, man, they're up in there. So I was starting to pull off. I was like, we're just gonna call this a day. But I was like, man, I know there's fish right there, so let's just go over there. And we get over there, and there was, I don't know, maybe like 5 to 10 fish kind of still in that school that kind of broke off and making their way on the flats, like busting at bait. And I saw 2 reds dive into the sand pocket next to the boat. And it's like that same, the crew's asking how far. I was like, man, it's less than a 10-foot shot. and these two reds dove in the sand pocket, and I was like, John, throw it out of that sand pocket. And he's like, I don't see anything. I was like, I don't. Throw it over that sand pocket, and he whips it out there, like one crank or a twitch, and this red came up and hammered it. And he's fighting this fish, and I'm like, cool, whatever. I was just like, finally, dude, like you got one. Like long day, and I was like, it's like dinner time. It's time for a beer. So because I don't fish and drink, so anyway, it's like it's time for a beer. And as I'm like kind of getting stuff, like just get the fish in the boat.
Right.
He's like, it's got a tag in it. And I look over and I'm like, that's not a it's blue, dude. First of all, I was like, that's not a tag. And he's like, it's a tag. And then I'm like looking at him like,
you're up there all pissed off. Right?
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, shut up, dude. Get in the boat. And then like I look and I'm like, man, that is something off that fish. He said, you don't only have like that thin.
It's still in the water.
It's still in the water, so fighting. Like,
oh yeah.
So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I noticed there is something on it, and I thought it was a piece of grass at first, but it was oddly like this blue, like this Lorelei blue.
Yeah.
And
which is a very beautiful blue.
Yeah.
Lorelei blue is amazing.
So I grabbed the net. I was like, oh man, we got to do this like whole different ball. We have to like slow this whole process down. And we net the fish, and we got it in the boat, and it's like, I hit record on my phone too, so we got that whole emotional thing recorded. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
And then we didn't know what to do, like, because before you would like take the fish into Roy's,
right.
You have to bring it in, and they have to look at it, make sure it's alive. It's a kill deal. But on this one, because of the freeze this year, the CCA says a catch and release. You had to like pull the tag
and bring the tag in.
But from our perspective, like, I can't enter the CCA tournaments, the Star Tournament, because I'm a guide.
Okay.
And so I haven't been able to do it over 10 years. And he's sitting there saying, like, we have to let this fish go. And I'm kind of like, hey, man, that's like a truck and a boat. I don't know what it's a tag. Like, I don't know what this gets you. I don't know what the new stuff is.
You're getting something.
Yeah, you're getting something,
yeah, that
dude.
tag
like,
is something.
We're just not going to let it go. Because I've heard about that. Like, the dude lets it go, and then just like, oh, sorry, dude, you don't win a truck.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my phone out, and we're kind of like a bad service area, and he has his phone out. We're trying to read the rules, and I'm like screenshotting it. Like, if anybody questions it, it's like, it says it right here.
Right.
So I went to go take the tag out of it because we had it in the live well, kind of just reading the rules real fast. And I went to touch the tag, and it slid right out, like zero effort. Like, that thing could have got hit by the net weird and slipped right out of that fish. Yeah. Like, unbelievable that it didn't. I'm serious, man. Like, I couldn't believe that came out so easy. And then we got a video of it released, and then it was a party since then. Like,
and you came in here?
Yeah, we had to come in. So we were headed back to the boat ramp, and we passed some buddies on boats on the dock, and everybody was just like, they saw our story, and they're like, cut over here.
Yeah.
So everyone would like high-five us on the docks, and I launch out of Billings a lot of the times, and all those guys, like, it's all like tower boat guys, like drum fishermen stuff, and guys that I've known for years. That's kind of where it's my spot. So I know those other guys, and they were like, they were shocked. Like, you're a fly fishing guy. Like, what the hell are you doing catching tag fish? Like,
right.
I thought, honestly, like, not to bag on the CCA, like, I thought it was all BS. Like, I've never met a person in my life that's caught a tagged anything, and none of these guys have ever seen it either. So it's like, if you have guys that are catching fish every day, and they don't ever see one, like, is this even real? You know what I mean? They've been doing it for 20, 30, anyway. So yeah, so this year they did a deal, and they might have done it in years past, but like a blue and a green tag. Like, the red one gets you like boat, motor, trailer, truck.
Oh, that's the good one.
That's the good one. And then they give you 5 of those, I believe. And then they had 3 blue and 3 green. And those are like a boat, trailer, motor. And they only had 3 spots on each one of those, and he was like the 4th one.
Oh, really?
So he got an Academy gift card for like $750.
Oh, so he didn't even get the boat?
No, he got cash.
Because
like
the other 3 had already been caught.
Oh, and they made him wait. I think he had to do like the lie detector deal. Like, if one of those guys failed, one was like it just happened like the day before. The 3rd one was caught. So if he like failed the lie detector test, then John would have been up next. But it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, well, he still got something.
Oh, yeah,
he still has the story.
Yeah, the story was
the
cool.
Story means a lot as well, dude. Man, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was interesting. It's different. I just never seen it before. So
what did he do? What did he do with the fish?
Oh, we let it go.
You let it go?
Yeah.
You just brought the tag?
You just brought the tag. So we brought the tag here in Roy's, and like the place was slammed. I don't know, it was like right near the end of the tournament. So the whole front counter had people, like, there was a line. People were buying stuff. And we have a tagged redfish, and we went straight up there, and we were like, had to fill out all this paperwork and do all this stuff. It was a lot of, it was very, man, you felt the energy inside of Roy's over there. I was just like, whoa, this is kind of cool. But I had to get out of here. It's too much energy.
The news showed up.
No, I didn't. No? They didn't. No, you think they would, but no.
It wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't that. Yeah, and it's weird. Like, I was like, oh man, my phone's gonna blow up. Like, never. Like, no.
Right?
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is great advertising, but like,
about to get all these sponsors, right?
No.
Jeez, dude.
Fly fishing world, man, it's different. There's no money in it. Like, for real, man, I'm like not trying to lie to you guys. There's no money in this.
Don't do it. Whatever y'all do, don't get involved.
Yeah. Anyway.
Just
what? No, I was kidding.
Get my man Haralson to take y'all. Right?
Yeah, it's good, man. I'll take you out, but it's good to do it like on your own. I think there's like I think everybody should try to do a little bit on their own and like kind of get that. Because there's stuff that, like, yeah, take a guide or take some lessons, learn some stuff, but then also get out there on your own and kind of like refine your deal without the presence or energy of somebody else there, and just do it for you. Like I don't know. Anyway,
right?
You know what I mean?
I definitely feel like fly fishing is the next step up from a traditional bait cast, throwing lures all day fishing. You know what I mean?
I don't know if it's I think it's different. Like, it'd be like rifle hunting and bow hunting. I think it's like that. I think like it's just like a different challenge. I went from popping cork and shrimp growing up as a kid, and then in my teenage years, I didn't want to buy shrimp. Like, my dad wasn't buying my shrimp anymore. Right. So it's like, and you had to cart around this bait bucket everywhere, and you had to like, I didn't have a car, so like getting shrimp was like, okay, what's the next step? And then I got plastics. Right. And then like kind of went into that realm, and then it's progressed to this. It's just kind of just the curiosity of fishing.
So you do, if one of the members does contact you, you do also lure fishing guides, or is it just strictly?
I try.
We're gonna fly fish.
Yeah, I usually try to do fly fishing. Like, I don't want to lose it. Like, if a husband fly fishes and like, oh, my wife does it, and she wants to do like spinning rods or something. Like, oh, that's cool. I'll bring that. But they never end up fishing anyway. So, yeah, I do. But like, I try to stay away from it. Right. Honestly, there's so many guys that. The reason why is it added expense for me. My fly rod and reels will last. Since day one, I've had them. Like, I don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's no like special cleaning. The bearings aren't as bad. Like, all that stuff. So my rods, I have the same gear I've had for almost 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And then every year I have to buy almost a spinning rod. I mean, like, all you spinning rod companies out there, your stuff's crap. Just a heads up. Like, it used to be really good, and now you guys just make it so it throws away and people buy more. But but it's real though. I mean, like, used to have like a pin slammer, and that thing would be indestructible, and like they got rid of it because they don't. It's like, man, you held on to it for 20 years, and
they want you to buy.
They want you to buy it, and that's the frustrating part for me. It's like, I'll get that 1 or 2 trip a year, and then I'll go to my garage to get it, and I'll have to oil it and have it all set up. But like, a year sitting there not being used, there's a lot of problems, or the line's bad, or it just costs me more money. I have to go to Roy's or Walmart and buy a bunch of last minute plastic. Right. I just don't. It's just more of a hassle for me.
Yeah, I feel like, man, we're 2021. The last thing I want to do is clean my stuff. Still, you shouldn't have to clean anything anymore.
Yeah, and that's kind of what
should have evolved already to where, guess what? It's real. You don't have to clean it ever. You know what I mean?
I don't understand. It's like, not to bag on like spinning rod companies, man. You guys used to have great products, but like, seriously. Man, I used a spinning rod in a kayak every single day, getting wet, hammered, and it worked perfectly. I bet there's not a company now today that I could have a rod in a kayak for over a month and not have to. I don't know, man. Fly rods never go bad on me. I've never had a fly rod just like seize up. Not once. I mean, no, I've had guys that dropped one on a jetty, their own though, none of mine, and warped it a little bit, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Never had an issue.
Yeah.
Never with a reel or a rod. Good eyelets, they don't rust. I don't know, man, it's different.
Right. I had a TFO bag that rusted.
Really?
I mean, I'll take my fly rod.
The zipper.
Yeah,
on
the
like
zipper. The zipper
tube.
rusted.
Yeah.
I keep it in the very back, right? As furthest back as you could get in my kayak. That's where I keep my fly rod. Because if I see something, I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to mess up this cast. So I'm real accurate. I'm more accurate. I don't want to say real accurate. I'm more accurate with a bait cast, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I'll cast my bait cast instead of my fly rod because, dude, if I mess up this cast, what I need to do is just take my fly rod. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that'll just make me cast that thing, you know?
And that's what I tell people. Like, that was the hardest thing for me to transition, like, from on a kayak especially, is fly line grabs everything on a kayak, I feel.
Right.
I've gotten better now. Like, kayaks have evolved to this day and age where it's a lot easier. But fly line, I feel like, grabs everything. And that was the hardest transition for me to go, like, I'm not bringing a spinning or a baitcaster today. Because it gets you, like, you get that frustration. And then getting to that moment where you're, like, constantly missing fish, or you're, like, it's getting tangled up on something, or your pedal drive or something, you go to cast, and it just gets you where you get that. It's a little bit better for the patience, I'd say. And that's gotten me better over the years. But, man, I don't know. Some days I'm like, oh, I wish I had a baitcaster.
Right.
Because, dude, I love trout. Like, I love going after big trout, especially on a fly. But there's times where I'm like, man, if I had a bait cast right now, like this Cocoa Queen Minnow on it, she would have been mine. And no love. Trout hate flies for some reason, man.
Really?
Big trout, man. There's guys that do it really well, and I'll get them where we'll be in skinny water, but like in Lighthouse, for example, and they'll come up and they'll submarine on a fly, and then just like, or just get in the grass and just sit there. Like, oh.
I made up my mind right now, dude. I'm taking my fly rod the next time, and that's all I'm taking.
Do it, man.
And I'm gonna tag you in it.
Do it, dude. I'm all about it.
Betros is back.
All right, buddy. What do you got?
And that's what we're going to talk about on this segment of Koozie Talk.
All right, let's do some koozie
Man, if
talk.
y'all remember, we used to call this segment Koozie Talk because we had koozies.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It used to be koozies. We don't
usually
have
roll with a
koozies
koozie
anymore.
everywhere.
We've upgraded. We've evolved to glasses now. You know, from Lorelei, of course, right? But we still kept it. We still kept Koozie Talk. It's a badass name, you know.
I like it.
Well, we're gonna talk here, and it's almost what Betros is asking. Give us the breakdown of a fly rod setup. So if they show up, they're in the parking lot at Roy's. They're watching us live right now in the parking lot, waiting to meet us while we come down the stairs. If they want to jump into Roy's, take a left as soon as you walk in. Cruise into the fly shop. What are they gonna buy?
So, like, if you're going to be a first time, like, you don't have any setups or anything, I would say, like, I would start with a pretty slow beginner rod. There's a lot of, they are then great price points. I'd say there's a lot of companies like TFO and stuff that have rods in about the $100 to $150 range. I'd say that are great beginner rods, especially like I recommend for new guys, like a Pro 2. You're going to have to buy a rod. You're going to have to buy a line. You're going to have to buy backing. You're going to have to buy a reel, flies, and leader material. So there's quite an investment in it. I think for all in, I bet you could get into a setup. They have beginner kits, I believe, here. But I'd say, like, if you did, like, your own kind of deal, I'd say for about $250 to $300, you could have a pretty good setup.
Okay.
To get you comfortably on the flats. I'd say here use like 20-pound backing. I think if you buy a rod or a reel here, a lot of times they throw in the backing for free.
Okay.
So that's a good deal. I'm using like an 8. Almost all my setups are 8-weight now. I typically ran like a 7-weight line, which basically just on windier days, I say you lose like 5 to 10 feet between a 7 and an 8-weight, and it's unjustifiable to have a client miss because of my setup.
Right.
So, like, I'd hate for you to come and you're casting at a fish and you're 5 feet short throughout the day because of 7-weight versus an 8-weight rod. And that's just like a heavier line. You go through a heavier fly and just a little bit less energy used on your end. So I use almost all 8-weight setups now. I'd say that's pretty common for the saltwater here. I say that's a great setup for any beginner on the freshwater, chasing bass, like bass ponds and stuff like that. And 8-weight's a great setup. For fly selection, I would start with like kind of what you're comfortable with. I'd start with some like kind of like small, like little shrimpy, like redfish crack type patterns. I think that's a really good fly. I like the gurglers a lot for beginners. It gives guys a target to look at on the surface as they're popping it in the morning or something. It gives them at least to see where their fly's at, just so they're kind of getting dialed in.
Right.
I think that's really good. And then I constantly think practice, like in a park or your front yard or something. I take, if somebody books like a casting lesson with me, I throw frisbees out and I say constantly just like practice casting it. Those into the wind, across your chest. You're kind of coming like at this kind of deal.
Okay.
Just like different kind of techniques.
And they don't have to be far.
No, I'd say like 20 feet, man. If you can hit 25 feet accurately, like you're in the game, like all day long.
Okay.
There's a lot of fish farther out, but I mean, like, I think any good guide can get you into 25 feet of a casting. Like, seriously, I mean, I don't know a guide around here that can't do it, a fly fishing guide at all. I mean, it'd be unheard of if you can't get into a fish like 20, 25 feet.
Right.
Pretty accurately. And that's just, too, like the patience of knowing your guy and you and kind of working together. And then also know that you're going to miss a ton of fish. I mean, just part of it. You'd be shocked.
Just be ready to miss.
Yeah, it's super
gonna
disheartening when you see a lot of fish, 200-300 redfish in a day. Guys take 100 shots. They don't hook a single fish. And we get back to the dock, and there's like 100 redfish on the nails on the board. And you're
Right.
like, shit. But hey, man, it is what it is. Like, I'm a catch and release guy. You know, you can't do anything with it. They're not coming in the boat. You're not keeping it. So, I mean.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, you can't keep any fish on my boat.
It don't matter who you are.
No, I don't give a shit. Yeah, no. Yeah. So,
Oh, wow.
I mean, like black drum, flounder go in the box. Like if you catch a flounder, I'm cool with that. Black drum, occasionally one or two, but that's it. I will not keep redfish or trout.
You tell them before.
Oh, I don't even have. I mean, they know it's on my website.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, yeah, it's not happening.
Man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just don't. It's like why are you taking my fish out of here?
Right.
Yeah, it's like you're from Michigan. What are you gonna do with my redfish?
Right, that's
you don't
true.
need. That's our fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's the way I look at it, man. For everybody, not just like.
If they are from Michigan, could they even take it?
Yeah, if they have anybody with a fishing license can keep a fish, but like I don't keep.
They could take the meat across state lines.
Oh
Check.
shit.
You know what I mean?
That's a good. Yeah, sure you can, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't keep fish. So if you're out there and you like to keep fish, like,
I'm sure that like people that hunt elk and stuff, I'm sure they bring the meat
yeah.
back.
Think about like Alaska because you can bring like halibut.
Right. I don't know.
I don't know. That's good. I know that I saw something
If
recently.
anybody knows that, throw it in there.
Yeah, throw that in there.
Yeah.
We got off topic though.
Can you take Texas wildlife into another state
Yeah, that's a good question.
already filleted, such as a redfish, if we come on Ram Garcia's guide service, because Marcus Harrison, you can't keep nothing. So if you come to my guide service and you keep every fish you catch, right?
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
Yeah.
If you keep the fish we catch, we fillet it. You got to go back to California. You got to go back to Michigan. Can you take it across state lines? Right?
That's a good question.
If anybody knows the answer to that, we'll send you a free decal, a free Spoiled Life Live decal. What's up, Phil Spencer? What's up, JC?
That's a legend right
Oscar.
there. That's one of the legends I was telling you about, dude. Phil Spencer right there.
Phil
man.
Spencer just said yes, we can.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, so we
Sweet.
can. So, but you're not gonna do it on Mr. Haralson's boat. So
Phil's not gonna let you keep fish probably either.
I don't know. Do you let people keep fish, Mr. Spencer, on your guide service? I know you can ship the fish UPS.
Oh, okay, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's a perfect.
Thanks, Brian.
You can take the fish across state lines. All
Glory
right,
to
we
you.
got it.
Thank you, guys.
Man, I hope that was a pretty informative koozie talk. Right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna come into Roy's. You're gonna need a reel.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna need a rod. You're gonna need some backing.
Backing,
You're gonna need some fly line.
fly line,
You're gonna need a tippet.
some tippet or leader material.
Tippet
I
or leader
typically
material.
go. So now I've been
What
doing it
weight?
long.
What weight tippet?
Usually 16 to 20 pounds.
16 to 20.
A tapered leader. I use Scientific Angler. I buy the 2-packs.
What's the length on most of those?
9 foot.
9 foot.
I use like 9 foot, and then I'll use it for about 2 or 3, 4 flies because you trim it down a little bit. Then I start adding tippet to it.
Oh, okay.
And depending on our conditions, like if the reds are like heavy in the grass, like thick or in oystery type areas, I'm usually running 20-25 pound fluoro. It's tippet, just a little bit heavier, and then the tippet section, just because. And if picky fish, I'll drop down to like 16. But
I got you.
yeah, I'm usually fishing heavy stuff where you're trying to have to get them out of the mangroves or that
Right.
grass stuff. And
Yeah.
I hate losing fish, especially like, say you come out on the boat for the first time and you hook your first redfish on a fly. There's going to be it could hang up on a handle, it could hung up on you, and it's going to get that shock value. And I like that 20 to 25 just to give it a little bit of shock leader or shock tippet for the kind of fish.
Do you ever guide offshore, fly fishing offshore?
I did when I first started. I look at the risk versus the reward on it. And as like a captain in the Coast Guard, the guides are captains through the Coast Guard, and you have a lot of responsibility and liability with our insurance. And I just don't feel comfortable a lot of the times taking guys that I don't know that well offshore, so I don't advertise it. Like,
Okay.
If it's one of those things where it's like a really glassy day and I know you and we fish really well together, I might mention it, but no, I don't.
Okay.
I have some opportunities to take a bigger boat off, but I just don't mark it. I just don't try not. I really like the flats. I really like redfish. I'm kind of uncomfortable out there, and I would hate to put somebody's life at risk. It's just not worth it to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't run in like really bad conditions either. Like, there's a lot. This year I gave a lot of deposits back for pretty bad rainstorm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just what it is. Lightning I don't mess with, and it's just not worth it. Life's too short.
So you're quick to say, you know what, this is not safe.
Oh yeah, I mean
We're not doing it.
I don't know how. So my kind of motto is like tacos in the first 2 hours on me. Like if we're on the water and like all of a sudden it starts lightning in 2 hours, trips over. Like and you don't pay, and I give you your deposit most of the time back. But I don't know. People get pissed. My girl gets pissed, says it's like a bad business that way, but whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I mean I don't care.
Man, it's safety, man. You know.
Yeah, it's not worth it to me. It's like, man, you came down and paid for an experience. And they always say, like, oh, I'll book you again. They never do, but anyway.
Right?
No, dude, it's a joke. I don't know. It is what it is.
Uh-huh.
It's part of it. It's just a hustle, whatever. I just don't, I can't take people's money. I mean, like, I already feel bad you're paying me to fish, dude, and then we can't go out. Like,
Right.
It's really not fair.
How bad do you think the 2021 freeze was?
I think it was bad. I think there's a lot of stuff people don't talk about in that freeze. I think about we lost quite a bit of trout, black drum, and redfish, flounder. I saw a lot of that dead. I went out the next day, probably every day for a week after that. Saw the sea turtles, but the shorebirds. We lost more shorebirds than I can count. Like,
Oh, really?
man,
No one talks about that.
nobody
right?
talks about the bird. Oh, birds don't pay the bills around here, man, for most people. So I think the amount of white ibises that were killed and all that, man, we just saw white ibises' legs like up on the shoreline like the next day, and we're like coyotes had eaten the chest out of all, like 100 of them, and it's just like, man, nobody even said anything about the birds. I think the birds. I mean, I'm still noticing the birds take a hit. The mangroves took a huge hit, which I was kind of anti and kind of bummed about at first, but now there's like all this new seagrass coming in and stuff like that in those areas, and it's kind of taking it back over. And I kind of believe that's like the native seagrass stuff that got kind of pushed out by the mangroves back in the day. So it's kind of cool to see some of that stuff rebounding. But I think the redfish took a huge hit, and especially the trout. I mean, it's been a weird year this year, definitely. I'd say the least.
Do you think you'll ever be back?
Oh yeah, I mean I think it's primarily like now that you have the sea run redfish and trout coming in like this time of year, and you start seeing sea lice on fish, so it's like a different, whole different ecostructure or ecosystem coming in. I see it. I think it's rebounded quite a bit. The bird population not so much, but a lot of the other stuff, yeah.
Best catch while on the fly?
Me or a client? Oh man,
Both.
I've had so many crazy.
Because you just got back from the Bahamas too, right?
Yeah, so I don't ever get a fish, like I was telling you. So that was a good trip for me. I fished every single day for 8 days straight or 7 days straight, and like, that's all I did was fish. I got up in the morning.
Bonefish?
Yeah, bonefish. I caught a permit, lost it. Caught a ton of bones, a lot of sharks. I didn't catch any sharks, just saw a lot of sharks. It was a lot of fun, man. It was actually like, it was good for my soul because just for different fishery, and I was able to like use my like knowledge. I don't know, it was just different. Like I was able to like test myself more, and then when you hook up, you're like, yes,
It worked.
yeah, it worked in a new area, and I was pretty stoked about that. So I'm glad that my learning curve in areas has gotten down to like almost about a day now. I don't know, best day.
Because we had the redfish story, right? That was a pretty hell of a day.
Yeah, I'd say like one of my biggest redfish one time on a flats. I had 2 friends on the boat. And it's kind of like this time of year. I think it was actually like October 19th. And I was pulling an area in, was it Shamrock Cove, like Fish Pass area. And we'd been on the shoreline. I never get the bow. And I saw a big backed red kind of moving this flat edge, almost on this drop-off deal. And I stopped the boat and I kind of got out and I hooked that fish and fought it. And it's probably like my biggest red. I think it was like 38 or something like that on a fly. And I was stoked. Like, I don't know, just like having 2 people there and be able to see it. And I was able to get out of the boat. I like to get out of the boat personally when I fish. So it was a lot of fun.
So you get out of the boat?
Like clients don't ever get out of the boat typically. Like,
oh, okay.
But when I'm fishing solo, I get out.
Okay.
I'm from here, and like my roots are getting out and wading. It's really hard to fly fish and pull a boat at the same time.
Right.
I do it a lot where I pull and don't fish at all most days if I'm solo. But some days, man, I have to cat. Like,
right.
I hate that when you're like in an area and like a big 45 inch red or something is just like, oh my god, and you like pull out your rod and he saw you and it's like, well,
ruined.
That's ruined. Yeah. But
Man,
I think
so,
like that 38 was like my best. That was like a very memorable date for me.
Uh-huh.
I've had a bunch, but like that was pretty awesome.
You still think about it?
Yeah, I still think
yeah,
about it.
dude,
It pops into my feed too on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Man, so let's give something away, man.
All right, let's do it, man. What do you want to give away?
So we're gonna give away, guys. Man, we're already up to 10 viewers. So one of these 10 are gonna win. We got Mr. Marcus Haralson's shirt, logo shirt, right?
Yeah, this is a great company. I mean, I wear all their stuff.
What is this, a Netic?
It's a Netic, yeah, and it's pretty much like
it's soft.
Yeah, I love their material, so I bought a bunch of their shirts and put my logo on it.
And we got a towel.
And this is like a.
This is your is a logo.
Yeah,
logo
so this one has. If you like open it up. Oh, I thought it did. It's got my logo down here on the inside. And then it just says, fly fishing sucks, don't do it. And it was just like a saying a really good buddy of mine came up with. He's my print guy, and he does like all my stickers, which I'm going to give away a bunch of these guys, a bunch of the dock stickers. And then some fly fishing sucks, don't do it stickers. Anyway, Flatology. And he kind of came up with that thing one day, printing some stickers for me. We just did it as a joke. Like I said, we did a bunch of fly tying events and stuff, and I like giving away stuff to people. Like,
yeah, they love.
Thanks for supporting me and that kind of stuff. So I just give away a bunch of I just buy all this junk. And same thing. This towel is like a really good company, and we just kind of what's it called? What they call it now? Collabing or something. We like work together. So I got these like little boat towels and some bigger ones, and just gonna give that away for you guys.
Cool.
And
man.
these are indestructible, biodegradable. Like, this is the best material, best towel on the planet. Venture towels.
Oh, I guarantee it, dude.
Yeah,
especially since this has your logo on it.
Yeah, man, dude, I've taken these to the Everglades, Afghanistan, you name it, dude.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, these towels have been everywhere, man.
Oh, cool.
Not this one. This one's new. This one's clean. Like, this
one.
doesn't have dock sweat on it somewhere.
But if you really wanted to, it could.
Oh yeah, but it's a it's a great backpacking tent. They do. The bigger ones are for yoga. Anyway, it's some free swag for people.
Someone is gonna win this stuff. We got a shirt, towel, and some decals. Docks Fishing Clinic and Guide Service towels. First person.
Yeah.
The Wilderbender.
The Wilder Bend.
The Wilder Bend.
The Wilder Bend. It's like a podcast we do also too. We talk about fishing, hunting, and surfing primarily. But it's South Texas, Wild Bend.
Where's it at? Where could they find it?
You can find it on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, Google. It's on every podcast platform.
Hell yeah.
And you can check us out on Instagram, the Wilder Bend. Or you can follow me at like I Live to Fish on Instagram too.
First person to tell me.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
First person to tell me
free swag
when Mr. Haralson's guide service started. The year it started.
Oh, trick questions on, dude.
We'll win the cap. We'll win the shirt, towel,
stickers,
and decals. First person, guys. First person. We're waiting.
Oh, that's a good question, Phil.
First person to tell me when the guide service started, the year the guide. Well, I take that back. Do not tell me because I won't hear you.
Oh yeah.
Type it into the comments. They were probably telling me, and I couldn't hear. First person to tell me the year.
They're all yelling at the screen.
2017, 2013. Y'all are close. 2011. Brian Richter. Brian Richter is the winner. Congratulations,
Congrats,
man.
Brian. Hope you enjoy the swag.
I think Brian won last time.
Dude, he's a ringer.
On
Brian,
the,
are you a ringer?
On the show we had with Thin Addict. You know, he's also my UPS driver. So it saves on shipping. Right?
Oh, really?
I just have to buy something that he has to bring to my house. And, you know, so now I got to spend money. Right. But congratulations, man. We got a shirt for you. Good stuff from good people, man. One last question.
Well, let's do it.
Before we shut it down. We've already been an hour and 5 minutes.
Have we really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
An hour and 5 minutes. It's been steady. Been a good show.
Yeah,
Hell of a show. Knowledgeable. What other words can we call it? Knowledgeable.
Entertaining.
Entertaining.
I hope.
Right.
I hope somebody learned something off this.
Right. Man,
Yeah.
hey, as long as we keep it real,
Yeah, that's what matters.
raw, and live, dude. That's all that matters, man. Last question. How can we get a hold of you for your trips? Right?
Yeah, you can go to docsfishingclinic.com. You can reach out to there. You can go to my Instagram, I Live to Fish, or you could call me. I prefer, I guess, I don't know if I want to get my phone number out on a live.
Yeah, we don't need to. Just go to the website.
Yeah, just go to my
It's
website.
there.
All my information's on there. It's like docsfishingclinic.com. And I do full day and half days, do casting lessons. And then stay tuned. We're going to do a skiff show coming up pretty quick and some other stuff and start doing fly tying nights again and try to get some movie nights going. There's a lot of interesting fly fishing films and just kind of like educational type stuff. And then just trying to get that going. I think any kind of resource that you could share with people is good. So there's a lot of dudes that are on this right now. Guys like Phil Spencer on here. He showed me a lot of interesting stuff when I was younger. When they didn't have to do it.
Right.
And I've kind of used that principle. Like guys did it to us and like helped us out when we didn't know what the hell we were doing. It took us under their wing. I think it's very important to continue that kind of stuff. I'm sure you do. Like it's always good to take younger people out and show them the way.
What Phil Spencer does is he helps cut the learning curve.
Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of what
that's
I do
what
too.
it-
I cut
that's
the
what
learning
his
curve on the
saying
fly
is.
fishing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, just,
Good dude.
yeah.
Instagram,
Yeah. I Live to Fish.
Facebook.
Just Marcus. Oh, I have a Docs Fishing Clinic Facebook too. I don't really. I get messages on there quite a bit. I just don't check it as often as I should. So much of my business and so many people reach out to me on Instagram that I just forget about the Facebook aspect quite a bit.
The Wilder Bend.
The Wilder Bend is our podcast, and I'm a host, John Steele. Is a surf photographer, Surfer Magazine, for years. Another local boy, and it's always interesting. He's a good guy. It's a good guy to have as a host.
Go follow those. I got into some trouble, right? I can't make anybody
Do it.
follow something, right, on a post, but I could do it right now, right? Unless Facebook is watching, right? But go follow the Instagram. Go follow ours, of course, if you're not yet, right? Spooled Life Live.
Yeah, make sure you follow these guys.
Make sure mine. Make sure his. Facebook accounts, right? Follow them and check out the podcast. We're going to give away something else that's going to be a separate post. We ain't even going to show it to you right now.
Yeah, it's like secret stuff.
But it's going to be some legit gear for the people that went and followed them, right? So we don't really know how we're going to do it yet, but
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
yeah, we'll figure it out. But we are going to go check and make sure that everybody followed the rules, of course. So let's give a shout out to the sponsors, man. Your sponsors.
I don't really have. I mean, I have spawn. I don't really like.
No,
No.
let's don't do that.
What's up?
You don't want to do that.
No, I mean, I don't really have like. I mean, I have spawn. I mean, I really just want to appreciate like the guys at Anetic. They give me mad love, so I appreciate them. Then you have a lot of companies like Sims, Hatch, TFO. Like, really appreciate you guys. And Kona Boats. There's so many, dude. I'd be lying if I could like.
Right. We'll
Thanks
go
to
another
everybody
hour.
that supports me. I really appreciate it, and a lot of the unknowns, like a lot of fly tying guys that help me out. I really appreciate that, and to keep, man, I get a lot of hookups from people, and I really appreciate it. But I'd say like Anetic's probably like the guys that show me the most love.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Real Sportswear. Those are some other
That's
guys
another guys here too, yeah.
to go follow. Real Sportswear, Instagram, Facebook, of course, Roy's Bait and Tackle. We're here in the beautiful Roy's Bait and Tackle studio.
Yeah.
And Lorelei Brewery is keeping us refreshed, you know, with their refreshing brewery, right? And I think we did it, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. There will be a flyer coming up for the next show coming up on November 5th. I'm not going to say who it is, but it's going to be another hell of a show, man. We've been very fortunate to bring in some of the best dudes on the coast. I say the coast. They come from everywhere, right? But we've been very fortunate to bring the knowledge to the Spooled Live members, and we're gonna keep going, man. We're just having fun with it, guys. You know, that's what it's about, right?
Well, I appreciate you having me on here, Ram. It's a good show, man. I love your guys' setup right here, and thank you guys for listening and tuning in. I know probably fly fishing is like a lot of people are like, what the hell's he talking about? But thank you guys, and if you're ever interested, just let me know. Thanks, Ram.
Y'all tune in. We'll see y'all next time. Thank y'all.